Yay!
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Pages from Rock Bottom. I'm Matt. This is my beautiful wife, Kim. Tonight, we are joined by Miss Annabelle Dykes.
We have a trigger warning tonight, guys. Discusses of addiction, suicide, grief, and childhood trauma. If these topics are difficult for you guys, please take a moment, step a moment. Take a moment, step away, take care of yourself while you're listening. If you or anyone you know is struggling, please reach out or to someone you trust for a crisis resource. I'm sure there's plenty of people out there that are struggling. So just be gentle with yourself because some things may be triggering. For many children, addiction isn't something they hear about. It's something they live every day. I know my children lived it every day when I was in active addiction, so I definitely can relate to that. Being, their mother that definitely should have not, you know what I mean? Like, we don't truly know what we put people through, especially our children, our loved ones at all. So tonight we welcome Annabelle Dykes, who shares what it was like growing up with a father battling addiction, loving someone who was rarely there, navigating and devastating loss of losing him to suicide at the age of 15 years old. This conversation is about grief, healing, forgiveness, and finding hope after unimaginable loss. No matter what you've lived through, you are not alone. Welcome, everyone, to another episode, right? We're here with Miss Annabelle Dykes. Tonight, there's conversations that remind us that addiction affects so much more than the person using drugs. It impacts the parents, the children.
Brothers,
sisters. Yeah, for sure. Entire families. Tonight, we are honored to welcome Miss Annabelle Dykes. And Annabelle, thank you for joining us and trusting us with your story.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. We really appreciate you coming on. And we appreciate your courage to come on and tell your story. You don't get it every day, realistically. We've heard so many stories from the other side of it, people being in active addiction and what they live through, but we haven't never really heard a story like yours. So we really, really appreciate it. So before we begin, tell us who you are and where you're from.
So I'm Annabelle Dykes, and I'm from Chillicothe, Ohio. Born and raised my whole life.
Yeah. I'm not far from you. Right down the street. Well, highway. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I don't even know where to start. It's been so long since everything happened. So my whole life, he was in active addiction and way before I was ever born. And I have a pretty vague memory. I want to say I was maybe like 5 or 6 years old. And I was crying to my mom and my grandma, asking why my dad didn't love me and what was wrong with me and what was the problem. And they had to sit me down, and that's when they explained to me that my father was on drugs and that he was an addict, and explained it had nothing to do with me. So that was like my first memory of really kind of knowing what was happening with him. Him and my mom split up when I was 4, and from that point on, he was never like a dad. He was more like the cool, fun uncle that would pop up like a few times a year. And when he was around, I loved him so much. He was my favorite person in the whole entire world, but it was a lot of empty promises. So many memories of him calling and telling me that he was right around the corner, 5 minutes away, and I'd be at the door with my coat on and my bag packed, and he would never show up, and I wouldn't hear from him again for 6 months. And during all of that, I was taking all my anger and everything out on my mom because that's who I was with and that was my safe person. Because I was scared that if I told him how I felt about the situation, and if I was scared that I told him I was upset with him, then he would stay away and he would never come back.
Yeah, for sure.
But I want to say I was maybe 13 and a half, 14. And one day my dad came over while my mom was at work, and he knocked on the door. I opened it to let him in, and I'm deathly terrified of dogs because I got attacked by one when I was in the second grade.
Oh,
So he knew that, and he knew how I feel about that. And my dad, how I knew him, would have never put me in a situation to make me scared or uncomfortable. But he came over that day, and he had his dog with him that he was not properly taken care of. So he was aggressive, and and I was like, please don't bring him into my house. I'm scared. And he forced him into the house anyways. And that's when I kind of like felt like something was up. Like, I always knew that he was on drugs and was an addict, but it was like the first time that it really felt like different and like super serious for me.
yeah,
And for the first time in my life, I wasn't scared of him. Like, I didn't think that he would ever hurt me or do anything to put me in harm's way, but I was just uncomfortable the way that he was
yeah,
acting. It was just weird. It wasn't my dad. And so I remember like trying to come up with excuses to get him to leave. Like, oh, I've got to get ready for school in the morning and I've got to do this. And he cried and was like, my daughter doesn't love me. She doesn't want me here. She doesn't want to hang out with me. And I just had no clue how to navigate that situation. I remember acting like I was going to the bathroom, and I called my mom, like, he's here and I can't get him to leave and I don't know what to do. And he sat on the couch with me for maybe like an hour after that. And then I finally got him to leave. And I didn't hear from him again. I want to say maybe like 5, 6 months after that. And then I was at my auntie's house with my brother, and my dad's other sister called us. It was Easter Sunday. And my dad's other sister called us and was like, hey, Sam was just arrested for having a meth lab in his van. So that's happening. So
yeah.
he went to jail. He was in jail for 9 months. And I remember he was supposed to be going to court just to find out when he would be going to rehab. So my mom said that I could go because, it was just supposed to be something happy. We are just going to find out when he was supposed to be
Yeah.
going. So I walked into the courtroom, and he was sitting there waiting on the judge to come in, and he looked at me and he said, I'm sorry. And I instantly knew I did something. While he was in the jail, he had overdosed and had to be given Narcan. And they were going to send him to a program that day, but instead sent him to prison. So then I would every few weeks take like a day off of school so I could go visit him and stuff. And he finally got out. I want to say it was maybe only like a month before he showed up at his sister's house and was acting real weird and stuff again, like how he
Yeah.
was when I had that experience with him. And so she called the police on him, and they came and got him and found a bunch of needles and stuff on him. And then he went back to jail for a little bit, and then he finally went to the STAR program.
Oh, yeah.
And
I remember the program. I did it
was
too.
I want to say he was there for maybe 9 months, and I went and visited him and hung out with him when he was there, and I would go see him, and he called me every day, and I stayed super, on top of making sure that he was doing the things that he needed to be
Yeah.
doing. About 2 months after he got out of STAR, I was getting ready for work, and my mom was like, hey, you're not going to work today. And I was like, why? She was like, I really need to tell you something. And she had tears in her eyes. And like, as soon as she said that, I knew that she was going to tell me that my dad was dead. Like,
Oh,
I instantly knew it. But what I was not expecting her to say was that he had shot himself. I had always, my whole life, kind of tried to mentally prepare myself for an overdose. That's what
yeah.
I expected to happen.
Yeah.
So hearing that was that was almost more like shocking than the fact that he was dead itself. It was more like how he did it,
Yeah.
because I always kind of knew I would lose him when I was young. Like, I always knew I would never really have my dad into my
Yeah.
adult life. it was specifically how he did it that really got me. Especially because this was obviously super important to me. When we got the toxicology reports back, he was completely and sober when he passed away. Completely sober for the first
Yeah,
time
that would,
30 years.
yeah, that would, that would, yeah, that'd be difficult for me as well. Because I would, I,
You couldn't help but question why.
yeah,
hmm
yeah.
But
Um,
what I assume he just didn't know how to cope without the drugs. He had been dependent on them almost his entire life, and it just
yeah,
became too much afterwards.
yeah. You do get mentally unstable for a while after trying to get sober. Like you
Absolutely.
are like your whole body is withdrawing, and not just your body, your mind. Um, you're struggling to realize what reality is versus like, am I really going to be okay, or am I really just dying? You know what I mean? Um, and even after a long period of time, like it took me a while to mentally be
Yeah.
okay. You know what I mean?
I didn't know how to process emotions in a healthy way.
No, me
Yeah.
neither. Not at first. Not at first, but thank God for like the recovery council and the tools and all the things that I learned, about addiction, helped me. It's just true. So growing up with your dad, like that, what do you feel like it did to you mentally?
I think I definitely have really bad abandonment issues.
Yeah. Yeah.
Some I tell a lot of people, at least me personally from my experience, I would never take back having my dad in my life and knowing him and loving him and getting to have him. But if you ask me personally, I say no dad at all is better than one who is in and out of your life and not consistent with being in your life.
Yeah.
Because that was the hardest part for me is I would get comfortable for a while because I hadn't heard from him in a while, and I would start to get a little bit more comfortable and like back in my place and stuff. And then like I have a really clear memory of I hadn't talked to him in probably like 6 months, if not longer, and I was spending the night at my friend's house. And he called me and was trying to get me to leave her house so I could go spend the night with him. And I was like, first of all, you don't get to just pop back into my life and demand I leave the people
Yeah.
that are actually there for me and go spend time with you. I was like, and second of all, my mom's not going to let me stay with you.
Yeah.
You're not a person to be right now. And that
Yeah.
night ended with him calling my mom and screaming and yelling at her for keeping me from him and putting stuff in my mind. And my mom, my whole entire life, has never ever talked bad about my dad to me. She would tell me the truth. She would tell me things that happened. There was
Yeah.
honest times where I would get upset in my feelings about him and I'd be going off and she'd be like, calm down a little bit. That's your dad. You're being kind of mean there. And he
Yeah.
always had an open door policy with him. If we were home, he was always allowed to come in and come hang out and do whatever he wanted. But when I reached a certain age, I started to realize how he was treating me and I started to take a step back, and he couldn't comprehend that it was me making those decisions. In his mind,
Not
it hurt.
Yeah. He was thinking that she was trying to get you to hate him,
Mhm.
probably. Yeah.
You said even though he wasn't around often, you said you loved him so much. Tell us about the father you remember.
Ugh,
Who was he when addiction wasn't in control?
he was so goofy. Like the goofiest person in the whole entire world. It was so embarrassing visiting him in the jail because the officers walk by and like look in the little rooms and patrols are walking by and I'm sitting there talking to him and he's like, officer, come here. See my dog you about. And I'm like, the police officer does not care about looking at me. Or he got his hands on hair gel when he was in there and put probably the entire can of it in his hair all at once. And
Oh
he
God.
looks real quick to make sure no one's looking, and he's like, watch this, and presses his head up against the glass, and there's a big grease spot left over. I was like, you're embarrassed. Just, and I could also, my favorite part about, I could absolutely do no wrong in his eyes. I could
Aw, yeah.
anything wrong in his eyes ever. I was never in trouble. I never got yelled at. I never got stern talking to. I was perfect eyes. But that reminds me of what else I forgot to talk about was when he first went to jail. He was withdrawing very badly. I was only 15 years old, and his family had put the decision on me whether we would be keeping him in jail or not.
Oh,
So that was obviously a lot, and really long and hard to my mom.
yeah.
Like, I want him in there, safe, where I know where he's at and what's happening. And then they told him that I was the one that was keeping him in there. And I was sitting next to my aunt while she was on the phone telling him this, and I could hear him through the phone cussing me out and calling me names and saying that he would never ever speak to me again. And that was not my dad. That he would never in a million years say those things about me, or say those things to me, or think those things about me. And little 15-year-old me will never forget hearing those things come out of his mouth about me, even though I know it wasn't him.
Yeah.
But that little girl in me will never forget the way that made me feel.
Yeah. Did you ever forgive him? Have you ever forgave him for that?
I think I was starting to somewhat work towards forgiveness, and then as soon as I had my daughter, it's like I completely backtracked on any and all progress I've ever done with healing towards my dad. It's like I relived everything because I saw her in my arms and I was like, oh my God, I could never do the things to her that he did to me.
Yeah.
I could fathom abandoning my child like that. But then there's also parts of me that's really sad. I was telling my mom there was a good 5 minutes right before I was pushing, right before I had her and they made me push, where I just panicked out of nowhere. And I was like, I want my dad. I'm really scared. I'm scared I'm going to die. I'm about to push baby out of me.
Yeah.
I really want my dad. And the
Yeah.
worst part of all is if he was alive, he still probably wouldn't have been there. And I still probably would have been thinking and having those same thoughts about, I really wish he was here.
Yeah.
Because he wasn't there for most things.
Yeah. But he might have been there for you and you just didn't know it at that moment anyway.
Yeah,
You
and
know?
I knew he was there. And I know he's here throughout her whole, he would be so obsessed with his granddaughter. If I think I was his little girl, she would have me topped.
Aw. Yeah. You know, I'm sorry that you don't get to experience that with him, you know? I'm sorry that everybody that loses a loved one, especially to this disease, doesn't get to experience that with their loved one. It's really sad.
Yeah,
What is it?
just being so young when it happened, he missed my
Yeah.
graduation, and when I went to college, and just all the things.
Yeah. Everything. You know, I think of all the things that I miss with my children and I'm still missing with them because, you know, they live with my sister. Yeah, I have, you know, I get to see them, you know, every other weekend. You know, it's not that I haven't, you know, fought for custody back because I have,
Yeah.
you know, but, you know, I still miss all the things, you know, and I'm not, I might be a present parent, but I'm not the parent that I wish that I could be right now. Like I worked so hard to become, you know what I mean? I'll get there though. You know, I hopefully one day, she will let them come back and, live with me. You know what I mean? But till then, I'll still be that present parent and sober and being there for them as much as I can. As much as I can.
Yeah.
So as a child, did addiction ever make you question yourself? Did you ever wonder, like, why wasn't I enough? You said you did. Or
Mhm.
why couldn't he stay?
Yeah. And
Yeah.
like I said, there's no part of me knows that it was way bigger than me. This started way before I was ever even a thought in his mind. And I know he himself, my dad, had a very, very rough life growing up, aside from all the drug
Yeah.
addiction. But when you're that little and you can't understand, you just see everybody else with their dad. And, like I would go stay at my friend's house and I would see them cuddling with their dads on the couches and playing with them. And their dads were the ones who would drive us everywhere. And I thought that it was me. And especially because, like I said, again, this is a little kid not knowing any better. I have a brother from my dad, different moms. So we haven't lived together since I was like 4. And he lived with a little bit, which now as an adult, I know shouldn't have happened and he should have been elsewhere. But as a little kid, I was like, that's the coolest thing in the world. He gets to
Yeah.
live with on the road in a truck and gets to see him every day and be with him. Why doesn't he want to do that with me? Why? And I was like, I don't know. I was like, I just must be too much or not enough, or I didn't know what it was. It was just, I thought I was the problem. And there's that little girl in me sometimes that still, I'll have breakdowns or moments where I get really sad and insecure about myself. And I'm like, my dad didn't even love me enough to stay. But
Yeah.
I know that's not true. I know that he loved me. He just didn't know how to show it. But there's always that little girl in me, and I don't think it'll ever go away.
Because you never got any answers. You never got to what's the word I'm looking for? It's not really answers, but you never got to really truly understand why. You know what I mean? Like, I know growing up with both parents addicted to something. My mom was an alcoholic and my dad was an alcoholic addict. Um, I guess they say it's inevitable for me to become what I became, or go through what I went through. But like, I always wondered why they would choose the same things. You know what I mean? Um, I always thought like, honestly thought I was going to die at times, because my mom and dad fought so much why they were both using. But I don't think I never could understand why either. And then I can't still to this day don't understand why I put my kids through that. That's the power of addiction, right? And I'm not definitely not making excuses for it because there's definitely none at all. Um, but I still to this day can't tell you why I did the things that I did and chose drugs over my children.
Because it's just never that black and white. It's what I learned when I got older. It's just the world in general is never that black and white.
It isn't. It
It,
isn't.
I and my dad literally said this to my mom one time. He said, I know that you take care of her good.
Yeah.
His mind at that moment, he truly didn't think that I needed him because he knew that I was being well taken care of by my mom. I'm like,
Yeah.
that's the stuff that matters. That's not the way that I didn't need him in that way.
Yeah.
I just need
Yeah.
to be there.
For your dad. Yeah.
It was a lot of the like I said, it's the broken promises too. Like, whatever. If I'm not with you for a year or two, just let me know. Don't say that was what got me. It was always the lies and the I'm on my way, and then I wouldn't see him for like a week or two, and it's just
Yeah.
so confusing at that age because I would be like, well, did I get excited and it scared him off, and that's why he didn't come get me because he said he was 5 minutes away and then he never showed up. Like, did I get too happy and too
Yeah.
excited to scare him off? I just didn't understand.
Yeah.
The like I can only imagine how it affected you as a child, but have you found yourself carrying some of this into your adulthood too? Like when it comes to relationships or
Yeah,
just in
absolutely.
general?
Absolutely. I, like I said, lot of abandonment issues because,
Yeah.
you know, like the first man in your life who's supposed to be your number one protector and the one that's supposed to save you from all the heartache is the one who broke my heart. So
Mm.
I I have trouble really like trusting men in general
Yeah.
because of my dad.
Yeah.
Because I'm just scared of being let down like I always have been. And like I
Yeah.
said, like I'm still to this day when I get upset or overwhelmed, I'm like, my dad didn't even love me enough to stay. Like I just had that thought like a week or two ago. I was really down and sad and thinking about something and I had that thought and I felt that way for a good few hours before I could rationalize myself out of it and be like,
Yeah.
it's not true. It is so much deeper than that. Um, there's a part of me that thinks he probably felt like he was helping us by doing what he did
Yeah. Yeah.
because based off of like I said he told my mom he was like, well, I know they don't need me, but he couldn't comprehend just how badly we really did need him.
Yeah.
I can relate a lot to that.
Yeah. Same.
So I lost custody of my daughter when she was 3, 4 months old, and I would go out to rehab and I would come back, and I would visit a couple times, and then I would just kind of disappear. And eventually, it got to the point where I was like, "She's better
Better
off
off.
without me. Like,
Mm-hmm.
all I'm going to do is destroy her life."
Yeah.
And then 9 years later, she reaches out to me, and like now I'm steadily working to try to rebuild this relationship. And hearing your side of it, like it motivates me more to do it
Yeah. Yeah.
because at first, like, a 9-year-old girl scares the shit out of me. You know what I mean? Because like I don't know her, but she's mine, and I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a process.
It is a process, but he's doing amazing. Even though like he's doing amazing. He might be scared. He's a great dad. He's a great stepdad and he's a great dad. So, you know, he may be scared, but he's doing great. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I know not everyone's the same, but like at least for me, if it helps reassure you, like no matter what, I always, always loved my dad. I never ever got so upset. I was like, I hate him, or like I always loved him so much, and that's why everything that he did hurt so bad because I loved him so much. And
Yeah.
like I still to this day, it'll be 9 years in October, uh, and I still to this day, I'm just like, ugh, I miss seeing his smile. I miss hearing him laugh. I miss getting teased by him. Stuff that I never in a million years thought that I would ever miss about that man. That I'm like, I would
Yeah.
do anything to experience it just one more time.
Yeah.
And I see so much of him and my daughter every day. So that helps a lot too. I got his big old ears.
Yeah. I was gonna ask, is it comforting, being able to see your dad and her?
It really is. It really is. Like I said, I just know he would just be absolutely in love with her.
Yeah. I have a grandchild, but I don't get to see her. Hearing your story today, helps me to truly understand like what my daughter went through. Um, she's 23 and she still won't talk to me to this day, but helps me understand a little bit more about like how she felt. You know what I mean? Um, I always wondered that, like, if she ever thought that it wasn't I enough, um, did she not love me? Did I do something wrong? Was it me? And I guess that, these are things that probably did run through her mind, and then my other daughter and my other kids, same thing. Like they probably wonder, like, are we not enough? It's
Mhm.
really hitting me hard for a second. You know what I mean? I'm like, it is because like my daughter now, she's 9 and you know, she was like it was last year around this time, she was like, Mommy, she's like, I heard you were a druggie. That's why, and you didn't want us. You just gave us away, and she's like, why? And that hit me.
Oh,
And yeah, like, you know what I mean? And, and then trying to understand her that, make her understand like I was sick. And it's not that I didn't want her, is that I couldn't be there for her. And I just thought, at the time it was best for her,
yep.
for all of them. And, but that just, just your whole story just makes me think about everything that all of our kids have went through, and what we've done,
Yeah.
what we've truly done. I mean, we've thought about it, but what we've truly done.
And I
I
can say,
appreciate
in terms of my dad, I have literally felt every single emotion possible about both the addiction and his death. I'm sad, I'm angry, I feel relief, I feel guilty for feeling relief. I just everything. There were
Mm,
parts of it that it was almost like bittersweet because I understood why he did what he did, and I felt bad that he felt that he needed to do that, and then angry because he chose to do that. Did that?
Yeah.
He took his life. He took himself from me. Sad because I miss him. Happy that he's not in pain anymore. Relief that I don't have to worry about him anymore. And like I said, for a really, really long time, I felt so guilty about the relief that I felt after he passed
yeah,
away. I didn't want my dad to die, but that doesn't mean my life was not a lot easier after he did.
Yeah.
Because he, like I said, he was in and out of jail and prison, and I was constantly getting roped into it. I was missing basketball games and basketball practices and falling asleep in class. And
mhm,
I really, really struggled my sophomore year of school when all of this happened with him. So there, like I said, there was also a real big part of me that like, I don't have to deal with this anymore.
Yeah.
yeah,
And
Like the
then there's
grief
me.
process is hard enough. I can only imagine. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it's just like I said, it's just every emotion just passes through, and I go through them all over again every few months or whatever.
So, how did your life change after losing him? What was the hardest part about moving forward?
I think the hardest part is that my life really didn't change a lot besides like him popping up every few months. I literally had a moment with my mom. I remember telling her his death really didn't like sit in for me really and click until maybe like a year after it had happened, because I was used to going that long without seeing him and hearing from him.
Uh,
So that part of my life hadn't really changed at all. And then after it hit about a year, I was like, okay, this is when he normally pops up and I see him again. And this is when it's starting to, now I really feel that he's gone. So it really took a while to like feel the change or feel his absence in my life, because he was always kind of absent.
yeah. What was the hardest part about moving forward for you?
In order to heal a little bit, I have to not think about him and everything that happened so much. And that's hard for me because I feel like I'm forgetting him. And
Ooh,
I'm not, for like the first like 4 months after he passed away, I basically had like a shrine dedicated to him in my room with his urn and like pictures of him and stuff from the funeral. And finally one day I was like, this isn't healthy. I came downstairs crying with my mom with the urn in my hands, and I was like, can I put dad in the living room? She was like, yeah, it's okay. I'm like, okay. Um, and but just a few weeks ago, I just visited his grave for the first time, probably almost a year now, because it
yeah.
just, and I only stayed for maybe like 5 minutes because it just felt heavy to me,
Yeah.
especially with my daughter. She just turned 2 on the 4th of July. And I've just been really emotional about my dad since that happened. It's
Yeah.
just, I don't know what it was about her getting older and me getting older and him not being there. I've just been real emotional about him here recently. So
Oh.
I feel like sometimes I feel like I'm a bad daughter because I feel like I'm not thinking about him as much, or like I used to post for his birthday and his death anniversary every year, and I haven't in the last few years, and I feel like I'm letting him be forgotten. But I'm
I don't.
not harp on it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Or maybe not think of like being so hard on yourself. You know what I mean? You know, maybe try to implement him in every little thing that you do. Not every little thing, but like, what am I looking for? I used to like, oh my goodness, I can't even find my words. Celebrate. There's my words. Like celebrate, like there's the memories that you have with them, and celebrate their life instead of like grieving every little thing. I know that helped me, even though I couldn't find my words, but I'm sorry. But that did help me, as far as going and celebrating instead of, allowing myself to just continuously grieve. So just a little food for thought.
That's one of
Um,
my things is I asked my mom, I'm like, tell me funny stories about you and dad when you were younger. I'm like, it makes me,
yeah,
I love hearing about,
yeah,
for me, it
I,
felt more.
yeah. I didn't want to just focus like on just the negative parts of it. You know what I mean? I didn't want like for my mom, I didn't even go to her funeral because I was strung out on drugs. You know what I mean? Um, I didn't want my last memory of my mom to be of her laying in a casket and going in the ground. Like I wanted to remember all the good things about her. Um, and my family got mad at me for that. Like, but of course I didn't want to go to her, her funeral strung out on drugs. Like that's not how I wanted her to, remember me. Like I hid from her from an entire year, and then I just, I never seen her again until she was laying in a hospital bed with, tubes down her throat. So, I decided like when I got sober, like I didn't want to grieve her
Mm-hmm.
like all the time. Like I wanted to celebrate, her life and show her, that I could do good. And that's what I've done ever since for her and my son. So,
So I lost my dad when I was 6. We watched his car accident happen. He was an alcoholic. Um, I didn't grieve, like truly grieve him until I was probably 26
yeah, yeah,
when I finally went to treatment. And what I've figured out is the best way, because that was my first resentment was towards God because of what happened. You know what I mean? Like
so many.
plus resentment I had towards him for being an alcoholic, and I'm never gonna be like that, but I became him in a different way. But now I celebrate him and I honor him by the way I live my life.
Yep.
And I feel like that could help you in a sense too. Like, don't grieve the trauma from it, but celebrate him by knowing in your heart that he would be beyond proud of you for who you are and what you're doing.
Yeah. And being able to the courage to talk about it today, and still cry about it. That's great. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And allowing yourself to feel is fabulous, and until it's not. You know what I mean? So yeah, maybe just celebrate it a little bit more.
Especially like you coming on here and being vulnerable like this, like there is another 15-year-old out there that feels the exact same way.
Yes.
And the hope that you were spreading just by sharing your story and the inspiration you're giving me
And me.
that I am doing the right thing. You know what I mean? Like, don't look past that.
That was probably the hardest part about everything throughout everything was feeling like I was so like no other kids my age understood what I was going through. Of course, there were a few people my
Yeah.
age stuff, but none of us knew that about each other because, at least for me, I was embarrassed and I would try to hide it, and I didn't really want to talk about it until I started to get more into like high school and stuff. And I felt like no other person on the earth could truly understand what I was going through.
Yeah.
When I was in high school, I spoke at one of our Keys to Success rallies, which is like our drugs free program at the school. And I spoke in front of that and told my story about my dad. And there was so many of the like middle schoolers coming up to me and being like, "Hey, I'm going through this," and telling me about their experiences, and just all confided in each other about it, and they had people to talk to, and that's something I didn't have the whole. Not everyone, but there's always going to be at least who somewhat knows what's going on or understands what you're going through.
For sure. What do you wish people understood about grieving, about grieving someone who has struggled with addiction?
For me, at least, I was kind of slowly grieving him. Like from the moment I met him, basically, I was always in survival mode because I was always scared for my dad to die or for something
Yeah.
crazy to happen to him. So even like, and also at least with my dad specifically, I was parentified in our relationship. He would confide in me about things that, a parent should definitely not be talking to their child about. He would tell me about like trauma and very heavy things that happened in his life. He would tell me that he was still in love with my mom and it was her fault that we couldn't be a family.
Mm.
So a lot of stuff like that. Or he, multiple different times throughout my life, he would cry to me and tell me that he was going to kill himself, and I would have to talk him out of it. And it was maybe 3-4 months before he did. I was in school, didn't get a hold of my dad, and last I heard from him, he had gotten a really big fight with his girlfriend, and I was freaking out and having a panic attack. And my math teacher was like, "What is going on with you?" And I was like, "This is gonna sound crazy, and like I'm jumping to conclusions, but like I just need you to believe me." I was like, "My dad got in a fight with his girlfriend. I can't get a hold of him. I'm scared that he killed himself." And he's like, "That jump to that conclusion. There's no way he would do that." And then the next day, he was like, "See, I told you everything's fine." And then like 3 months later, he killed himself. And I
Yeah.
was like, "I told you." I was like, "I know that man." I knew
Yeah.
that he, because like I said, multiple times I had talked him out of it when I was 12, when I was 13, 14. I would have to be like, "Hey, don't kill yourself. That really
Yeah. How heavy was that for you to carry around?
so insanely heavy," because I myself started to feel that way. And I attempted the first time when I want to say I was 14. And then just years ago, I didn't attempt, but I really felt like I was going to. And
Yeah.
so I confided in my mom about it. And then I went and spent like a week in 1A to get my head back on
Yeah.
straight. So
Absolutely.
that also, the mixture of, I think, obviously genetics and stuff, but going through everything that I went through, dealing with all of that at such a young age, and then seeing my father do that to himself, I
Yeah.
have been dealing with suicidal thoughts for literally as long as I can remember. Like I can't ever remember a time when I didn't feel like that.
Do you still do you talk to somebody today about that still? That's good. See?
Absolutely. I
Yeah.
definitely confide in my mom a lot. She gets like 85 calls a week. "Mommy, I need help with this. Mommy, I'm sad about this. I saw a squirrel today."
Yeah.
Anything and
Do you struggle with depression too
yeah,
as well?
Yes, and postpartum. So that was when I was going through post. That was
the
insane.
worst.
That was
Yeah.
Yep.
Been there.
My dad was bipolar, and I am as well. So I, So I have 2-3 weeks a super high, and then I'll have like 2-3 weeks of low.
I might have like a day or two with super lows, and then I'm back to being the super high. You know what I mean? But it's not as bad anymore. I get depression mode still, but it's not as bad as it used to be. Thank God.
Yeah, I'm definitely finally starting to feel a little bit more like myself after having her, and I'm starting to feel a little bit less like I'm in the postpartum hole and then the depression hole.
It feels like it lasts forever, and it can last for a long time.
Yes, and never the same person. You're never the same woman you were before.
Yeah.
You're a completely new woman when you have a child.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with that. I had 6. Actually.
Never again.
Never again. Never. I'm good.
I hated being pregnant.
I was always like, man, I just want my body back. Be carrying around another human being. Oh man.
Like
it is. Yeah. They get up in your rib while you're sleeping and you can't breathe. It's
like
her
toes around my rib.
Or their hand.
Yep.
It's funny. It's the truth that happens. He's looking like that doesn't. Yes, it does.
I feel her toes curled around my rib.
Or you can see like their imprint. Yeah. Crazy. Yeah. It's insane. I just don't know how we we do it, but we do.
Yeah.
We do.
Yep. Yeah. And then deal with everything we just talked about, and then when it comes to her at the end of the day, I put on a happy face and I'm mommy.
Yeah.
Because
I
never want her to feel the way it sucks.
It does. It does, but just always keep reaching out to your mom, and she said she can confirm those 85 calls a week.
Yes.
And don't be so hard on yourself, because I've seen pictures, and I can tell you love your child, just by talking to you, the conversation, but just lighten up on yourself a little bit. You're doing great. You know what I mean? If nobody's told you today, you're doing amazing. You're doing amazing, girl. You're doing better than I did, because postpartum for me sucked. You know what I mean? I curled up in a ball and I'm like, this kid would be better off without me. You know what I mean? I did too. It was a whole thing.
I don't remember the first life. It was a blur.
Yeah. It's bad. Bad. Postpartum is no ho. That's all I'm gonna say. It isn't. It's not easy. It's not.
At all.
It isn't. So, but healing, it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen overnight. How long did it take you before you felt like you could breathe again?
I want to say at least when I got to a point where like I felt like I was somewhat normal again, maybe like 6 months, because for the first like 6 months after he passed away, I was like a complete shell of a human. I had fallen behind on all my classes. I'm always someone who has like my hair, full face makeup. I do my nails. I was in hoodies and sweatpants every day, no makeup, hair pulled back, not brushed, teeth not brushed, not showering. I was just a complete human. So maybe about 6 months for me to start to just somewhat get back into like my normal routine again. But I'd say maybe when it actually overall just started to feel like easier was when I moved back home after leaving college. So I want to say maybe like 4 years to kind of start to feel somewhat okay about it. Like I could like talk about him more without crying and look at stuff without crying and listen to certain songs and watch certain movies. It took quite a while to be able to get to that point.
Yeah, certain smells probably triggered memories too, and yeah,
Everything.
huh?
Everything.
Everything. Yeah.
It could be a
Yeah.
sound, smell,
Yeah,
somebody's
car
sleep.
door outside. Yeah.
And it's weird because some days I could go into like full detail about his death and be perfectly fine, and then like I was working at Casa and someone ordered a burrito the way that my dad did, and I just started sobbing, crying. I was like, "That's how he got his
Yeah.
burrito." It's
Yeah.
it just I don't even know what it depends on. It's just sometimes it's like that and sometimes it's not.
Yeah.
It's uncontrollable, I think.
Yeah,
Mhm.
for sure.
It's just once it happens, like I had to figure out ways to cope with it. You know what I mean? I still do. Like there'll be certain times where what was it last year? We passed that car wreck
Yeah.
and like
It was a
sent
motorcycle
yeah,
wreck, actually.
it sent me into a straight
Yeah.
anxiety attack. Like it,
Mhm.
fuck,
I was like, "Do you need to pull over and me drive?" Like, because like he was, you could
Mhm.
just see it, he was sweating. Like it was just, it was bad. It was bad.
This it's so like weird and specific, but I'm sure you guys will understand. Anywhere with like dim lights and loud music playing in like somebody's house
Yeah.
triggers me very badly because it reminds me of like any trap house I've ever been in.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
I be like hanging out at the trap houses with him and staying there and stuff, and like it's such
Yeah.
a thing and it's so weird, but like if like the vibes of like if I walk into like a house party and it's like there's some smoke in the air, the lights are low and there's music going, I'm 6 years old
yeah.
staying
Yeah.
in a drug house again, and I feel like I can't breathe. I feel like I'm being suffocated. I'm like, whoa, like it's literally like I'm back to being that little girl again.
How do you work through that? Do you remove yourself from the house? Like how do you work through that?
I've tried to just remind myself that I'm safe now and that
Yeah.
I'm not that little girl and I'm not in that environment. You know, like
Oh,
it'll like even if just like me sitting in my living room, if someone were to just put a song on YouTube and then turn it up on the TV at like 60,
yeah.
it would probably make me feel like that. So I just
Yeah.
remind myself like I'm okay. I am in a safe
Yeah.
place. There's
Yeah.
no unsafe people around me.
Yeah.
It's music. It's just vibes. I have to just
Yeah.
read.
And you're in control today. You are able to remove yourself from the situation and you're not 6 years old and you don't have to sit there.
Exactly. I
Yeah.
can step outside for some air if I
Yeah.
need it.
Yeah.
Whatever. That. I just have to remind myself. I'm like, I'm safe now. I
Yeah. What helped you begin to forgive?
Oh, that's a good one.
honestly, I don't even know if I have even started to yet at all. Um, I'm a very me myself. I'm a very very spiritual person, and I very much believe in like him still coming and being around and showing signs and stuff like that. Um, and I haven't gotten any in a really long time, and I think it's because he knows I'm still angry with him. I
Okay.
I've almost been too stubborn to want to. Because, like, no, he
Mm.
doesn't deserve, which he
Mm.
does. He was a person with feelings, and like I said, it's not that black and white. The world is so much more complex than that.
Yeah.
The little girl in me who's hurt is still
Yeah.
kind of taking over that part of my brain. And she's like, no, you're
Yeah.
still mad, still angry.
Yeah.
I want to get over that because I don't know. I just feel like it would just make me a happier person in general. And I think it would make me a better mother. I don't know why or how specifically. I just feel like it's not healthy to hold on to those feelings.
Well,
But
it's kind of crazy you say that because like that was something that was said to me when I finally did begin to grieve him and forgive him was forgiveness really isn't for anybody but yourself.
Yourself. Yeah.
And like once I really dug into it and understood it, it made sense. You know, like I carried so much resentment and abandonment and a lot of feelings, and it never hurt anybody but myself. You know,
that's
and I
that's what
shit.
I'm being very stubborn, and I just feel deep in myself I'm just not quite ready yet. I really want to get there. I really hope I get there. I'm just still too much of that hurt little girl at the moment. You know,
Yeah.
like I said, once I had my daughter, it's like I completely backpedaled on like any and all
Of
healing I
course.
them.
Yeah.
It
Makes
just
sense.
completely erased it all. I was
Yeah.
like, whoa, it's like I'm dealing with his death all over again almost.
Yeah.
Do you think you fear to let it go?
Sorry, what was that?
Do you think you fear to let it go?
Yeah,
You feel okay?
a little bit.
Yeah.
Because I think I've just felt this way my whole life.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's really sad, but those are the most memories I have of my dad or of him hurting me and disappointing me.
Yeah.
So, and it was in like some weird way, I'm like emotionally hoarding onto those feelings because I've had them for so long, and it's scary, and I don't like change.
Yeah.
It's a trauma
And I think
bond.
also
Sure.
that also probably stems from him being in and out so much is I am so against change, the smallest amount of change. And I think it's because he was constantly bringing about and throwing crazy changes at me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was freaking out because my mom bought a new rug for our living room one time. I was like,
Yeah.
run this
What are
by
you
me.
doing?
What
did it
is going on? Yeah.
Why did you do that?
Yeah.
I was like,
Oh man. Yeah. You know, maybe one day you might, you might get there, right? Taking the steps that you need to get there. But it's okay not to be okay. I know that's so cliche, but it's so true. It's okay not to be okay, but you can also not be okay and be okay if that makes sense. Allowing yourself to breathe a little bit and forgiving yourself too. I think you might want to start there before you can forgive anything else. It wasn't your fault, right? And you were enough. Um, we just make some really shitty decisions as humans sometimes, and we don't really think about how it's going to affect the other people in our lives, even so years down the road, right? Even after the decision that we made, it's still affecting the people we love the most.
mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But you're allowed to be okay. And I didn't know your dad, but I know that he would want you to be okay. So, maybe start that healing process for yourself. Hopefully that postpartum doesn't kick your ass for, the next year and a half to 2 years. Because that postpartum sucks. And she's 2, right? You said she's 2?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Well,
I'm
I hope
hoping
that
I'm starting to finally phase out of it now.
yeah. Yeah, and that probably doesn't help you either. So, hopefully you can still, start pedaling back forward instead of backpedaling, and allow yourself to continue to heal from what has happened with you in your life and your father. Hopefully. If your dad could hear you today, what would you want him to know?
How much we loved him and needed him so badly, no matter what he thought, needed him so badly, just for just kiss the scrape on me, or to brush my hair, or to pick me up when I fell down, or just anything and everything, just everything. It didn't matter what. I just wanted him there. We needed him. I needed him there, and he meant so much, and still means the entire world to me. And I love him so much.
You read a nice one out. She's gonna make me cry.
If addiction had never entered his life, what kind of father do you think he would have been?
Oh God.
I really want to say he would be the best, because I know that he loved us so much. It took me a really long time to know that and to accept that as a fact, because, like I said, it's hard to comprehend that. I know that he loved us so much. He literally just did not know how to. He just didn't know how to love us, or didn't know how to love us in the way that we needed. He
Yeah.
was so funny, so goofy, so embarrassed. Every teenage girl's nightmare, like the most embarrassing person
Yeah.
ever in public. Like, he was perfect girl dad material.
Yeah. Aw.
And the little moments that I did have was the best.
Mm. So there's probably children out there, right? There's somebody, a child or a teenager watching tonight who may be living the exact same story.
Shit, he might be an adult.
Yeah, it might be an adult, what would you want them to know?
They're not alone, that other people have experienced this and will experience it, and it is okay to feel all of the emotions. You can feel sad, angry, happy, relieved. All of those are valid. I spent way too much time feeling guilty about the way that I felt about the whole situation, and I had no reason to do so. All my feelings about it are valid.
Absolutely. Absolutely valid. No matter what. I'm glad you realize that, because I tell my kids that all the time. We tell them that all the time. Regardless, your feelings are valid. No matter what it is, if you're angry, you're mad, your feelings are valid. So
What would you say to a parent who's battling addiction but still has children watching everything they're going
oh,
through?
that's a good one.
At least for me, just as long as your kids can genuinely see and know that you were trying. Because in those
Mm,
last of his life, when he was in Star, and then, like I said, he was clean when he died, I will focus on that fact for the rest of my entire life. I'm so proud of him. He had those 2 months clean after 30 years, because I knew that he was trying when I could see him and I was talking to him and I could see how excited he was. There was even a point where he had relapsed at one point, and I wasn't mad for the first time ever, because he genuinely seemed so disappointed in himself and genuinely seemed like he was trying. And I was like, that's all that matters to me, is that you're trying and genuinely putting in the effort.
yeah. Mm. I hope my kids can say that about me, that they can see that I'm genuinely trying and I'm
Yeah.
doing great. And
Yeah.
yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm gonna not tear up. This one's made me emotional. Go ahead.
Being someone in recovery during my addiction, I never
Ooh,
tried to comprehend, or
yeah.
as selfish as it is, like, I really didn't care how it affected anybody else, because I was selfish and
Selfish.
self-centered.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Everything was about me.
Yeah.
Yeah, as I've told you multiple times throughout this, like, your story is powerful,
Mm-hmm.
and people need to hear it. And the longer I've been in recovery, I've realized recovery isn't only about saving my own life.
Yeah.
It's reaching out to someone else and helping them save theirs too.
Yep.
It's about breaking cycles. Like addiction in my family has been a generational curse, and you know, to me, that's beyond a powerful moment when I chose to break that chain. You know what I mean? It's about giving my children the best version of myself that I wish I would have had from my dad, and I get to be the father to them that I wish he would have been to me. You know.
Yeah.
Now, my stepdad, like he was that. You know what I mean? I did have that father figure.
Yeah, you did.
And he instilled in me what a man is supposed to be and how I'm supposed to be a father to my kids and the example I'm supposed to set. And I'm just blessed enough that I made it this long to have the opportunity to.
Mm. Oh,
Yeah.
that was good. Man. All right. So I'll ask you this question. When you hear the phrase turning the page, what does that mean in your life today?
For me, it means breaking the cycle of just everything with my dad and my family is making sure that my daughter doesn't have a parent that she ever has to worry about or wonder if they're okay or if they love her. And trying to move past from everything that happened from him in a healthy, not to just like push it back and ignore it like I kind of have been, but to finally move past it and not focus on it and let it dictate my life.
Oh, you said it right there. Don't let it dictate your life.
What gives you hope today?
My
Oh, yes.
she
She said, my mom.
is
Oh,
the reason I am everything that I am today. It was just me and her growing up, and like I said, I was very mean to her throughout
yeah.
everything because she was the one who was there
Yeah.
and she was I was comfortable with. And like I said, I was scared to let my I was feeling because I was scared it was push him away. How mean or nasty I got with her, she would love me no matter
Yeah.
what. She would always love me, and she did that shit dealing with my crazy self, raised me, went to school, was working 2 jobs, has my sister. And I want to be my mom when I grow up.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. You know, what I remember of her, she was an amazing woman. So you have a great mom. You know what I mean? Great mom.
The best.
Yeah, I don't know if she remembers me, but hi. I probably looked a little different. I've gained a few pounds. I like to cook. I like to cook, I like to bake, but she was amazing. Like I said, she was case management when I was there, so I know you have a amazing mom. So, and I remember your little sister coming in there a few times, So, and riding in the, I'm not going to say it. Yeah, I will. The druggy buggy, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was always a thing, you know what I mean? Load up in the morning in the van and go to group. It was fun. It was always fun. But you have a great mom, So just remember that. And you're already growing into her. So look at you now, right? You're struggling, but that's okay too. There's probably not gonna be a day that you don't. Oh, thank you. There's probably not gonna be a day that you don't struggle with something. You know what I mean? I have the tools, but I still struggle mentally with shit. And I'm not even gonna lie, like there's days like, well, I don't lie, but I'm probably too brutally honest, but there's still days I'm like, man, I don't think I'm cut out to be a mom. Like, I don't think I'm cut out for this shit.
I've called my mom sobbing. I am a terrible
Yeah.
mother. She served me.
Yes.
I don't
Same. Well, I didn't call my mom, but I'm just like, I call my husband and I'm like, I don't like, you know what I mean? So you're definitely not alone when it comes to all that stuff. Because, girl, I feel those ways too. So I think we all do, and we all go through it. And I have my moments.
I think everybody has a
For
moment.
sure. Because
Right.
I'm like, I'm not cut out to be a mom. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like,
Throw a little bipolar in there.
but
like,
yeah, you throw
both of us.
yeah, He said both of yes,
Yeah.
and it's the same stuff, same scenario. And then I'm just like, man, you gotta be easy on yourself. You know, a lot of self talk and like, you're doing great. You know what I mean? And she said, and now I'm crying.
So I need to grab my phone charger real quick before I accidentally leave you guys.
Okay. Okay.
So-
Oh, she's good.
Yeah.
Needed this. I'm so glad that she agreed. I could have told her we were about done. Margie, I hope you're not crying too much. You have an amazing daughter. She's grown up to be absolutely amazing, you know? And we all struggle, and it's the support connection.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're fine. I was just talking to your mom, even though she's not on here. You know what I mean? I was like, I said, she's raised an amazing daughter. And as long as you continue to have the support and connection that you have, girl, you're gonna do amazing. Keep calling your mom 85 times a day, because if that's what it takes, you do it. You do it, because listen, you don't want to become that pressure pot that we were just talking about a couple weeks ago.
Here I am.
And because that's not healthy, and continuing to talk about it. Don't get bottled up inside, girl. That's the worst thing we can do. I still do it too. I'm preaching to the choir here. You know what I mean? But talking, calling your mom 85 times. I love that. I love, love that. Keep doing that and keep shining. You're beautiful inside out. Don't ever let anybody tell you anything. Your dad is absolutely proud of you, no matter what you feel or what you think. Girl, you're rocking it. And you coming on here today and doing it again for me for a second time. I don't think you remembered me the first time at March United, but here I am. I still have your video. Like, I posted it. What was it, last year?
I'm wearing the first ever.
He's wearing the shirt.
Yeah.
I know it somewhere.
We have all kinds of them. Like, I think I have one. Yeah, I have one from every year.
Yep.
And this year we're making them because we do shirts and stuff now. So now, like, we're making all 250 shirts, and that's stressful. That's stressful. But I wanted to kind of put that in here, because our theme this year was survival was step one. So maybe use that to your advantage just a little bit, because listen, that's all we do is learn how to survive, right? And that's what we're doing day in and day out. But again, thank you for your willingness to share your journey with us tonight. Help people feel less alone. Like, just thank you. We appreciate you. That's why I told him when you walked away, I said I could have told her that we was probably almost done.
I when it cut off mid conversation, I was like, oh no.
But
if tonight's conversation has touched your heart, share it out.
Yeah, for sure.
You never know who may need to hear this message. And if you're someone struggling with addiction, recovery is possible.
It is.
We are proof of it.
Yeah.
Your children don't need perfection. They just need you.
That's true. So true.
It is never too late to ask for help.
It isn't. Ever.
Ever.
85 calls a day. Isn't it?
My first rehab I went to, there was an old man from Boston. He was an alcoholic. He passed out in a blizzard up there. Right.
Oh God.
Yeah. So
terrible.
Yeah, they found him the next day, and like just a hoodie. He was out shoveling snow. So anyways, his kids convinced me to go to rehab, and 74 years old. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Finally got it.
What?
Shout out to Pat.
Oh, shout out to Pat.
Yeah,
Yes, Pat.
Oh, that's
He's
awesome.
74.
he was that shit. That was 2018. He's
Oh.
80 now.
Oh,
You
he's
know what I mean?
80 now. Hopefully, Pat, you're watching this. And shout out to you, buddy. God, that's encourageable. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
74 years old. I think yeah.
Never too late.
It's never too late. There's the message, right? Never too late. But thank you for joining us for, everybody for joining us for another episode of Pages from Rock Bottom. We got some new viewers and new followers.
Yeah, this one got me in my feels.
Me too.
Yeah.
We really appreciate you for doing this. Like, we want more episodes like this. We want to talk to more people, this has been in your shoes, you know
Yeah.
what I mean? Who's walked through that just as well as you have. We want to hear those stories as well, not just the ones where people recover, because
All aspects.
we want it all afflictions,
Yeah.
all afflictions. Doesn't matter if it's just from suicide, mental health, doesn't matter what it is. We want to hear those stories because that helps us in return. Hearing how people, survived something, unimaginable in their lives. We want to hear those things. And thank you once again.
Absolutely.
You're welcome. Until next time, and remember, your story isn't over, and keep turning the page. That goes out to everybody. And once again, thank everybody for joining us tonight. Join us next week for... He forgot the episode. He's the scars that made me. That's going to be a good one. That's just going to be me and Matt, guys.
Yeah, I mean, if you guys know somebody that wants to come on and share their story,
yes,
come on with it.
Yeah, get on here and talk to us because we love having conversations. We do.
I used not to.
He used not to. I'm a talker, so listen, I could talk all day long. We'll just leave it at that. I don't mind talking. I used not to be a talker.
I don't believe that. I don't believe that at all.
It's the truth. But now I'm a very open book, and I'm like, well, I'm never going to know anything about people if I don't have a conversation with them. So, hello, hi, I'm Kim. What's your name? Where are you at? Where are you from? Who are you?
Yeah.
What do you do for a living? What do you like on your salad?
What's your favorite color?
Yeah, there you go. See, she gets me. I love it. But that's it. You know what I mean? And but yeah, hey, this is what we do. And if you guys do know anybody, and come on, guys, come on. We're ready to have this conversation with you guys. And thank you for being so courageable once again.
Yes.
And vulnerable.
You help me more than you know.
Yeah, same. I loved it. I'm gonna do some clips, and you're amazing. So don't ever stop being amazing.
Thank you.
A month away from March United.
1 month away from March United, guys.
Canal Park.
Waverly, Ohio.
September 5th.
We have Christopher Dre Stewart. We have
me.
Annabelle Dykes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we have Miss Stephanie Jones. She's coming all the way from Athens.
Yeah, I'm hoping a lot of the Athens family comes up.
Athens family. I'm so excited to meet all these people. It's like getting to ride a bike or something for the first time, or getting a new pair of white shoes. You know what I mean?
It's like the 21st century version of the pen pal that finally meet. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Pen pals.
Yeah, you remember that?
What's that like?
What?
Now it's like, hey.
Like if there's anyone younger watching, they're like, pen pal.
Yeah.
That's me.
You want me to use pen and paper?
Look,
I'm not right. Shoot.
Yeah.
The Notebook. Is that what you said?
I said I'm young enough. I know what a pen pal is, but I can't read or write cursive.
Well,
I was never taught it.
March United, bring pen and paper. I'm gonna teach you how. I'm
gonna teach you. I love it. Oh man. Oh, see another.
Yeah, the boy that works for me. I'm trying to teach him to write cursive.
Yeah,
right now.
he said he come home and he told me, he's like, he doesn't know how to write cursive or write or read it, and he's like, I'm gonna teach him.
Yeah,
They taught us the alphabet, and then they cut it out of our curriculum.
That's
wild.
crazy. I
Mhm.
remember like it was a thing for us. We had to learn it. Like it was
I
a.
I believe they're bringing it back. I think there's just like one weird gap of kids who never learned it.
Yeah.
That generation is gonna be like, what?
And
What is
my
this?
mom has had to read letters for me before. I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know what it says.
This isn't English.
Bad.
Yeah.
Bad. Oh man. All right, guys. Thank you, Annabelle, again. We'll see you at the march, and
Yes.
everybody, we'll see you guys next week.
What
For
time?
7 o'clock, 7
Yeah.
p.m. 4.
Scars that made me.
There you go. All right, Annabelle, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Welcome. Bye, everybody.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.